A vote by the Mississippi Board of Education will allow some Mississippi school districts to cut up to 10 days from the school year. Thanks for joining us at 6. The state requires 180 days of instruction for the academic year. However, today's vote will let 8 counties hit hard by COVID-19 lower that to 170 days of class instruction. Last week, Governor Reeves delayed the start of school for grades 7 through 12 in Bolivar, Coahoma, Forest, George, Hines, Panola, Sunflower, and Washington counties. Those same counties fall under today's votes by the Board of Education, which was unanimous. Well, the school bells are starting to ring at North Mississippi school districts for the first day of school. This is the first day back for students in classrooms since March, all because of the coronavirus. And Columbus is one of the districts that went back today. They have new guidelines in place to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. All students and faculty, for example, have to wear a mask at all times. The district has developed a hybrid and virtual schedule to best accommodate students. As the number of cases here in Mississippi are going up, parents are making sure their children are aware of the safety protocol to follow in the classes.
I told them, no matter what, keep it on. Use your hand sanitizer. I even have their own personal hand sanitizer in their book bags. Use it whenever,
Well, it's not going to be a normal year, but I hope she's going to have to adjust to the 2 days and doing the virtual learning at home, the other 3.
Now, the Columbus School District again is using a hybrid virtual schedule for the remainder of the school year. The district will continue to, of course, release updates when changes happen. An area ministry is helping schools mask up. The governor's latest order requires teachers, students, and any staff on school campuses to wear a mask to help limit the possible spread of COVID-19. 8 Days of Hope is getting 10,000 masks shipped to their national headquarters in Pontotoc County. The masks are coming from the ministry's Buffalo, New York location, which purchased them when the COVID-19 pandemic began. Schools throughout Lee and Pontotoc counties can request to get them for free.
The students in Northeast Mississippi, they don't have an option. They need to wear a mask, and some families can't afford to buy mask after mask after mask. And so this is just a different type of disaster. That's what we do. We respond to disasters. These masks hopefully will help out.
8 Days of Hope will deliver the masks starting next week to those schools that have put in those requests. Meanwhile, students in the Noxubee County School District are getting an extra week of summer vacation. School district leaders have decided to push the start date back 1 week. Interim Superintendent Rodriguez Broadnax says the first day of school will now be August 17th, so mark your calendars. He says this will give the faculty, staff, and students there 1 more week to prepare for the upcoming year. The semester will end on November 24th when the students leave for Thanksgiving break. They will return for the spring semester January the 5th. Well, for decades, homeschool education has been an alternative for many families rather than sending their children to traditional schools. But with the COVID-19 crisis continuing to get worse, it is an option more parents are now choosing. Our Quentin Smith talked to a parent who homeschools her 2 children. He joins us in the studio now with more on the advice she is giving those who are new to this. Quentin?
Yeah, Andrea, Amy Arhus is going into her 8th year teaching at home. The longtime educator made a list of her curriculum that she sends out to first-timers, giving them a guideline to go by. Arhus says the 2 things she stresses the most is for parents to find a schedule and routine that works for them, and also don't be afraid to ask for help. Room 394. This is where all of the learning takes place at Amy Arhus's house. This is where she teaches her 2 children for homeschool.
And I love it. I love the time that it affords me with my kids. I love seeing the light bulb moments when they figure things out. I love being able to slow down when we're struggling with something or speed up if we're doing great.
See, for Arhus, her reasoning to go the homeschool route is simple.
I really wanted to be able to spend more time with my children. And once I started doing it, then I realized I loved it because not only did I get to spend time with them, but I got to tailor their education for them specifically.
While homeschool is an alternative she chose on her own, for others, it's an option they chose due to the pandemic.
People that have been thrown into this because of the pandemic, I think, are just on a different level playing field. They don't know what to do. This is not something that they chose for their kids. They were happy with what was going on.
Arhus says she's seeing an increase in parents now choosing this route, and many of them are reaching out to her for guidance.
I always let people know that you don't have to plan the lessons all by yourself. You don't have to be a master at algebra or science, to be able to teach your child these things. There are so many amazing options online that you can find nowadays.
Aside from the curriculum, she says there's one major concern that many people have.
Probably the biggest concern is how do you make them do the work? Which seems like a silly question, but my answer is always, you are the parent. And you set the tone, you set the rules.
The longtime educator encourages all first-timers to embrace this opportunity and to also realize that help is available.
It's different for everybody, and it takes some time to get used to. So the main thing is just offer grace, realize that this is new for everyone, and find what works best for you.
Now, when it comes to homeschooling, unlike virtual options, the parents are the actual instructors. If anyone chooses the homeschool option and needs help, just visit our website at WCBI.com for more information.
North Mississippi colleges are also adapting to a new way of learning during COVID-19. At ICC, there are a few options for students. Classes will start August 17th at Itawamba Community College. Students can choose a traditional face-to-face option, a face-to-face hybrid, face-to-face Zoom, or online only. That way students have some face-to-face time with their instructors. ICC President Jay Allen says these 4 options put student and faculty health and safety first, along with accomplishing the goals for learning.
You know, it's important that we keep our classrooms safe and healthy environments, and in order to do that, we had to begin to provide physical distancing. Well, we can't do that in every classroom with 20, 25 people in there, so this allows us to make the classroom setting smaller, or no smaller number of people in a same size room, or in some cases with those face-to-face classes, we may have actually moved those to the auditorium where we can spread everybody way out.
Traditional classrooms have been rearranged to place desks at least 6 feet apart, and all classes at ICC will have a live stream component. That way, if a student needs to quarantine, he or she can still view lectures and complete their assignments. Okay, let's take a look now at today's COVID-19 numbers here in the state. New numbers from the Mississippi Department of Health show a slight drop in cases today. According to today's report, there are 956 new cases and 21 deaths. The State Department of Health says there are 329 people in ICUs across the state. 192 patients remain on ventilators. Locally, Lee County has 35 cases. Lafayette County has 30. Both Lowndes and Monroe counties have 16 cases today.
It's a very nice Thursday evening. It's going to be a great night to be had across our region. A live view with our Alpha Insurance Camera Network in Columbus. Not too shabby here. Let's go to Tupelo. Mostly sunny skies right now here at 6:08. Louisville, Mississippi, same story. And for you in Vernon, a few clouds out there, but overall, we're looking good there to the east of Durham's Pharmacy. Currently, upper 80s to around 90 degrees. The humidity still low, so it's a great evening. We're mostly sunny now. We'll cool down into the 70s, low 70s by 11 o'clock, and we're down into the 60s again tonight. So that's a nice little treat for us as more heat and more humidity comes on back here. We'll show you that in the 7-8 coming up.
All right, the 2020 election only months away now, and COVID-19 is already making an impact on how some voters will vote, or really where they will vote. Lowndes County has already made a change to where one precinct will be. WCBI's Bobby Martinez talked to the circuit clerk in Lowndes County today about some of the changes and what voters should expect come November. He joins us in the studio with that story. Bobby?
Safety while voting. That is the focus here in Lowndes County for the upcoming election. And the clerk's circuit office wants to make sure voters to know that they're going to be safe when they go cast their vote.
We will do everything we can to make them feel safe.
The 2020 election already proven it is going to look a little bit different. COVID-19 impacting the way voters normally vote. And just last week, Lowndes County supervisors announced a change to one voting precinct.
For the general election in November, the only major change as far as a precinct is we had to move our Trinity precinct at their request to Columbus Christian Center there at 146 South McCreary Road.
And with the uptick of positive COVID cases in recent weeks, Barksdale says she wants voters to feel safe as they check off the boxes of those on their ballot. Even the voting booths will have things to protect you, the voter.
We're going to make the necessary changes as far as face shields and shields on the desk and gloves, hand sanitizer, things like that to make everyone feel comfortable. We're going to put out some 6-foot spacing notifications and things on the door.
And if you are a little uneasy about going out to vote, Barksdale says they are planning ahead to make sure their protocols are following health guidelines.
And we're complying with the CDC guidelines to do everything we can to make everyone feel safe that wants to come out and vote, because we need everyone to get out and vote.
Even voters hope the pandemic doesn't keep Mississippians from using their voice. Kimo Lewis says Election Day is just like any other day. Use the same safety practices you've been using to help prevent the spread of the virus.
Every daily thing, people should always have masks and hand sanitizer, because your hands are the nastiest thing in the world. They touch everything. You got to protect yourself and everybody around you. So you having hand sanitizer and a mask is protecting you and everybody around you, and slowing down COVID-19 and stopping the spread of it.
Still also says masks will also be provided to voters as well.
One of 9 service members killed in a tragic accident in California last month has ties to North Mississippi. How his family is remembering him and why they say he was doing what he was called to do. His heroic story is next.
You're watching WCBI's News at 6 with Andrea Self.
The tragic accident in California that claimed the lives of 9 servicemen has hit a Northeast Mississippi family especially hard. It was the end of the month when Camp Pendleton service members were doing routine training and tragedy struck. One of those service members, 19-year-old Private First Class Evan Bath, had family ties to North Mississippi. Our Allie Martin talked with the great uncle of the young man who always wanted to be a Marine.
When Dan Soper found out his great-nephew, Private First Class Evan Bath, was one of the Marines missing after their amphibious assault vehicle sank off San Clemente Island, he was praying they would be rescued. But a few days later, the rescue operation switched to recovery. Soper describes his great-nephew as quiet, funny, and inquisitive, a young man who was living out his lifelong dream.
This was his goal in life, was to be a Marine. And he told his mother just about 2 weeks ago, I think, that he was just absolutely thrilled with what he was doing on the ship. He had gotten on a ship as part of his training, and he loved being there.
PFC Bath was one of 16 personnel aboard the 26-ton amphibious assault vehicle that sank after taking on water during a shore-to-ship maneuver. 1 Marine was pronounced dead at the scene, and 7 Marines and 1 sailor died in the AAV. The others on board were rescued. Soper says the Marines gave his great-nephew the direction he was seeking in life.
They were good for him to give him a balanced life and to give him the discipline he needed to find out what he needed to be doing in life. And he had really discovered that.
He also says the outpouring of support is appreciated and needed as the family leans on their strong Christian faith.
You know, we've all had our ups and downs and our hard knocks in life, and without that support and the prayer that goes along with it, it's very difficult to handle these kind of situations. We just need to remember them over the next couple of weeks as this progresses.
Officials say recovery operations should wrap up by the weekend. In Tupelo, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
Beach weather this weekend down in Biloxi. Well, we can't rule out a stray storm or 2, but overall not too bad, low 90s, but you could dodge a storm or 2 or 3 down there. Your full forecast for our area is next. Stay with us.
WCBI First Alert AccuWeather Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
It's been a super wet year. We certainly know that. Record-setting in some instances up to this point, but the drought monitor is back. We are monitoring some dry pockets in Mississippi and Alabama. Those are those areas in yellow. Nothing to worry about yet, but this is the driest time of year now. We're starting that, and things could domino as we go through time. So we'll just see how things play out here. We'll watch that. Dry tomorrow and Saturday. Spotty storms possible Sunday, but better chances for scattered rain and storms starting Monday and for a good chunk of next week. A great looking view from Louisville, Mississippi today. Look at those friendly cotton balls, cumulus clouds, not too terribly tall. And that just means we have a fairly stable and relatively dry atmosphere. Storms bubbling up over here in Alabama and Georgia. Also back in Arkansas, we are sandwiched in between. You may spot the International Space Station tonight. It comes in from the west at 8:31, visible for 4 minutes, and it'll be about 48 degrees above the horizon. So if you saw it the other night, Very similar tonight with mainly clear conditions. It's looking great. Now later on tonight, look at these temperatures, mid 60s, maybe some upper 60s too. Very comfortable, very similar to what we had this morning. If you were up early, you know how nice it was. Same story on our Friday morning. For you in Noxapater, there you go, 60s, 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. Enjoy it through the 70s, back to around 87 by midday and around 90 or 91 in the afternoon with mostly sunny skies. Still a bit of a northerly breeze here, and that will just stir things up just a little bit to give us a nice little breeze or two, especially if you are in the shade underneath one of those trees. It should be pretty nice and refreshing, even though it will be warm. Just pack the sunscreen, wear your hats and whatnot. The sun's still very, very powerful, but if you find some shade, it will be decent with a little bit of a breeze. So we're sandwiched in between a couple of storm complexes that will be dying to our west and some more scattered storms here to our east on Friday, probably Saturday too. As we get into Sunday, we are thinking that there could be a few spotty storms that start to reappear in North Mississippi, probably higher odds farther to the south, closer to the coast. But after that, all bets are off, and we'll just see how much rain we can get in here over the upcoming week with those spotty storms. All quiet here in the Atlantic. That's certainly good news. No tropical system waiting in the wings, but we are thinking that the rest of the tropical season could be relatively active. Right now, pretty quiet though. Low 90s tomorrow, mid 90s for your weekend, 90s next week, but look at those rain and storm chances going up to 40, 50, 60% starting Monday.
The high school football tour continues on. We check in with the South Pontotoc Cougars. That preview next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
The high school football tour checks in with our final Pontotoc team, the South Pontotoc Cougars. The Cougars return after a difficult 2019 season, hoping to build on their experience. South Pontotoc is stop number 46 on the high school football tour.
WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour is brought to you by Itawamba Community College, Cannon Ford of Starkville, Monroe County Farm Bureau, Max South Broadband, and the Bank of Vernon.
The bounce back begins for South Pontotoc as the Cougars look to improve after a difficult 2019. After going 1-10 under first-year head coach Rod Cook, the team feels more comfortable and confident heading into year two.
We didn't have the experience that we did this year, and we had the majority of our offense and defense come back, so we have an experience, and all of us that came back have played for multiple years for most of the seniors, so we've played together and we have chemistry.
I think the intensity is better for us this year. Last year we didn't really know what to expect, and now this year we, as a team, we know what we got to do, and we know what we got to do to get the job done, and we're just going to try to do the best we can.
A lot more fun, we're all just bonded together. We've been together since 7th grade.
The Cougars bring back 17 seniors in their starting offensive line, positioning this team to be in good shape on offense.
It makes it easier. Those guys been in the program. We hadn't changed a thing. They know key terms, and they're ready to perform.
More starts as a unit, and we've all played together for a while, and we're family, and we just try to, we go into the game knowing that the offensive line has to lead the way, and we just try to do the best we can to protect our quarterback and protect our running back.
South Pontotoc also welcomes in a new offensive coordinator with Bert Ashley joining the fold, allowing head coach Rod Cook to focus on the defense.
This year having a new offensive coordinator and me concentrating mainly on defense, I feel like we'll be a lot better.
I think our offense is going to be better than it was. We got a new offensive coordinator this year, so Coach Cook didn't have to do everything.
With the experience the Cougars carry into the season, as well as added help on the staff, the team is ready to see how they shape up in division play.
We feel like our eyes were open last year, and we're ready to meet that challenge again this year.
We didn't know exactly how it's going to be, but this year, we'll just go in with our head up and just one game at a time, just practice hard, play hard, watch film.
South Pontotoc travels to Aberdeen September 4th. With the Cougars on the high school football tour, Chris Bolton, WCBI Sports.
WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour with South Pontotoc High School is brought to you by Access School Health Services and First Choice Bank.
Stop number 46, South Pontotoc, is officially out of the way. That means Moorville is up next as we continue on with our 4A schools. That story will air on Friday for stop number 47. Going into the weekend, we've got stop number 48, the Shannon Red Raiders, on Saturday. And then closing out the weekend, we check in with stop number 49, the Itawamba AHS Indians, on Sunday. Then going into the week, we take a pit stop in 5A as we check in with stop number 50, New Hope, and we continue on with our stops from there. For any of those you've missed, check out our website, WCBI.com. That's it for sports. More for you when we come back.
And warm as we head into our Thursday evening. Get out there, make the most of it. Temperatures cooling down into the 70s after sunset. Tomorrow and Saturday, warm and dry. Spotty storms return Sunday. Better storm chances again as we get into next week. Andrea, with more humidity that we just love, right?
Well, I'm just not going to think about it. Just
Don't.
enjoy what we have right now.
Concentrate on the now.
That's the news at 6. We'll see you back here tonight at 9 and 10.